The real message is we all started from nowhere. I mean, we all had bullshit jobs. We all felt like losers. But through time and effort, you build a stronger human. You build a stronger body. You build a stronger mind. You build accomplishments and will and momentum. And then you look back and you go, hey, man, I'm not washing tables anymore. You know, I'm not washing dishes. I'm not cutting lawns. I'm not digging ditches. Yeah. You know, I'm a different person now, but I used to be. That's the hardest part, right? Is to get out of that rut. When you ain't got shit and there's nothing going on, to have faith then is so difficult. To have faith when you're successful, it's like, yeah, listen, bitch, you've been successful for a while. Of course you got faith. Yeah. You already got up the hill. Now you're just coasting. You know, you're just rolling down the hill. Everything's great. The hard part is getting up that fucking hill, especially if you got a dad you're hiding from, especially if you feel like you're a loser, or you never really had anything in your life that you could look back on and say, hey, I was really good at that. You know, and there's a lot of people out there listening to this. There's so many people that are in that starting point. Like the people that come up to you and say, I don't know what to do. What should I do? How do I do it? How do I get going? But you're going to have to figure it out, one foot in front of the other. You're going to have to find a thing and keep working at it and get better at it. That's one of the things that I like so much about martial arts. They let anybody in. And then from learning how to do that, you get better, and then you realize, damn, I can get better at anything. Because the first time I ever did jiu-jitsu, I remember just being manhandled so bad, going, man, I'll never be good at this. This is terrible. I'm fucking awful at this. And this is, I'd already been a black belt in Taekwondo and already kickboxed, or did a bunch of shit. And I was like, I can't believe I'm starting from scratch again. But that, at least I knew then that I already done that before. I already started from scratch. So like I had some experience, started from scratch. I'm like, all I have to do is just put in the time and the effort here. Find a thing and work hard at that thing. You'll realize through that thing that you can get good at anything with time and effort. Find some difficult shit to do, because that gets away a lot of the anxiety that you carry around in your body. A lot of difficult things make regular life less difficult. And that sounds so simplistic, but particularly physically difficult things. Because when you do things that are physically difficult, the strain of making yourself do those things, it's very valuable. It's not just valuable like exercise and fitness and martial arts and running and whatever you're doing that's really difficult. It's not just valuable in terms of like health and the way you look, but it's also valuable for your mind, maybe even more so. Because regular life can be confusing, and little things that go wrong and little problems that arise are exacerbated by the fact that you're not accustomed to dealing with hardship. So creating your own bullshit, whether it's through fucking some brutal kettlebell exercise or running up hills or something, is extremely valuable for you also, not just accepting the nuanced perspectives of other people, but also being able to navigate through this world with some sort of an understanding of just how complex it all is and how weird it all is, and not be overly thrown off by every little dip in the road and pothole that you encounter. There's been many days where I didn't want to work out. I just didn't feel like I had the energy, and I just forced myself. And I think there's very few people out there that know how to force themselves. That's a learned skill. That kind of discipline and focus. You have to have like real rigid requirements of yourself, where you don't allow yourself to back out of things and you don't allow yourself to slack off. And I don't think people put those kind of requirements on themselves as if it is a daily principle of life, like what you must get done. You know, you must brush your teeth, you must exercise for 45 minutes. And if you did that, I think you'd be healthier and happier, and your body would perform more smoothly. And if you require your body to do things like that, I think it rises to the occasion. There are very few people that have that kind of discipline. So because of that, they come up with excuses. And excuses are a giant part of the problem. It's not simply a physical health issue. There's also mental aspects of it, and discipline's a big one. I just know way too many people who are weak mentally. And I can't just chalk it off to only, their physical, the way they physically feel, because I felt like shit 100 times, and then I worked out, and then I felt way better. It's just a fact of life. That's real. You just got, people don't know how to do that. And it's not, and if you're used to doing this, Get in your car, sit down, drive to the office, sit down, go to the lunch, sit down, go to the board meeting, sit down, get in your car on the way home, sit down, get home in front of the TV, sit down. Then go to the gym, fuck off. They don't have any energy. Their body's like, I don't have it in me to do this. And I don't believe that. I think it's a lot of it is the mindset. That's really what it is. It's like, I'm sure a lot of it is diet, and a lot of that diet affects their physical health. But there's been many, many people that have just put their foot down and said, enough, I'm going to change my life. And they don't take any excuses, and they feel way, way better. Diet is most certainly a part of that, but there's also a discipline aspect. And these things are not mutually exclusive. They exist together. They're all together. And they work symbiotically. The way your mindset affects the choices you make with your diet. And the mindset also affects the choices you make in terms of like whether or not you require yourself to exercise. And I think these are critical aspects that people like to gloss over, or they like to make excuses about. And they get very angry if you don't accept those excuses. And that's a sign that they're trying to enforce this standard and this idea and push it on you and give themselves an excuse. It's one of the reasons why they get angry. It's one thing if someone has a legit physical issue like you do, but there's a lot of people who do not. They just have poor diet choices, they have a sedentary lifestyle, and they have the momentum of this sedentary lifestyle that's holding them back. They're accustomed to being lazy. To give people this excuse, I don't have the energy to exercise, that is crazy to say. Can you walk to the fucking refrigerator? Yes. Well, you can exercise. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just walk around the block. There's 80-year-old ladies who take yoga with me. They're fucking really old, and they're in there. They're going after it. They could easily say, I don't have the energy to do that. But they don't. It's a mental attitude. They make a decision. You don't have to go to a CrossFit class and try to do the workout of the day. You don't have to go nuts and do clean and presses with 150 pounds. You don't have to do that, but you have to do something. Just get your blood moving. Your body has requirements. It wants to move. It really does. And when it does, you feel better. This thing that we all have, everyone has, not just me, I mean everybody that does anything has. And it's like this voice in your head that wants you to do nothing. This voice in your head, and he calls it resistance. And he talks about this resistance that is in your head, and that you have to decide that you are a professional. This is what a professional does. A professional goes to work, and they give in to the muse. Okay, the concept of the muse, whether or not it's real, but the concept of the muse is you settle in and receive creativity almost like as a divine gift from this magical entity, the muse. Now, whether or not it's real is not important. What's important is if you treat it as if it's real, it does work. And what works is if you dedicate your time and your focus, like realistically, with a professional, disciplined effort to creativity. You show up every day like a professional, but you show up to be creative. If you just do it on a regular basis, ideas will come to you. Where are these ideas coming from? Well, his concept was to think of it as you're a professional and you're getting these ideas from the muse. And this is what you do. You show up and you do the work, you focus on it, and these ideas will come to you. And that's really true. If you really stop and think about it, if you write something, whether it's the most brilliant thing you've ever written or whether you're not good at editing and it turns out to be dog shit, where's that coming from, man? You're just sitting down in front of your laptop and these thoughts are coming to you, and all of a sudden you're talking about a kid who's riding a bike and he gets attacked by a werewolf. Like, where the fuck is this coming from? If it's not coming from the muse, where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from my creativity. Okay. Do you know how to access your creativity like you can blink? No, you don't. Do you know how you access your activity like you can lick something or perform any sort of physical function that's repeatable? No, you don't. It's a non-repeatable thing. Treat it like it's magic. But treat it like you're a professional and you show up to engage with the magic. So every day, at the same time, you sit down in front of your keyboard and you start working. And just put in the work. Force yourself to do it. Force it like a muscle. Like the same muscle that you develop when you go running every day. And then you get to the point where like 7 days in, you start fucking feeling good running. You start feeling like you're getting better because you're putting in the time.